So hello everyone, my name is Nimrod Brickman and I'm leading the business development in Mobileye. Okay, so for the past few years we've been seeing a significant change in what consumers and OEMs are expecting from their ADAS solutions. And in today's session, what I would like to do is to share with you how we believe that we're entering into a new era of hands-free driving and what it means to bring it into the market, into production at scale. So let's jump in. So first and foremost, before we dive in, a quick background about Mobileye and what we've been doing for the past 25 years. So Mobileye established 25 years ago as a computer vision leader, basically for ADAS and autonomous driving. And we've been mainly focusing on computer vision as a tier 2 tech supplier for working with partners and working with many OEMs. Until date, we've delivered more than 230 million IQ chips. This is the Mobileye SoC, which means basically that more than 230 million vehicles are equipped with our system. Now, for the past decade or so, we've been focusing on delivering advanced driver assistance systems from a functional perspective, not only computer vision, for level 2+, level 2++, and level 3 and level 4 applications, both for consumers and for robotaxi and autonomous mobility. This also affected our position within the industry, moving also towards more of a tier 1 and a system supplier, in addition to where we are positioned as a tier 2 tech supplier. Now, throughout the years, we've been investing a lot in autonomous mobility and AV, and right now we have more than 100 testing vehicles, testing our capabilities across the world, basically, and more than 8 million vehicles through our partners that collect data and uploading it to the cloud through our road experience management solution, RAM, that I'll double-click on in a few minutes. Now, for years, the industry have focused on bringing level 2 functionality into the mainstream. Basically, the functions that we all know, adaptive cruise control, lane keep, lane centering applications, highway assist, and this is how it became a bit more abundant in the past 10 years. Now, this transition has been successful. Right now, we've seen it in practically any vehicle that is very commonly used, and basically this shift has been successful, as I mentioned. Now, level 2+ has been merely a niche market. It started as an experiment. Not many vehicles programs have been adopted this, and basically this hands-offs basically were very small in numbers. Now this change is now becoming a different thing. Right now we are seeing a growing demand for that, and the numbers, as you can see on the screen, reflecting that quite dramatically. And this is no longer a niche segment. This is actual production shift that we're seeing within the industry. And it's going to be with us for quite some time. Now, this is not a specific geography point, but rather something which is much more broader and global. It was originally started in the North American and the Chinese market, introducing that like 5 to 10 years ago. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. All right. This is the right one. Thank you. So I'm coming back to that again. So this was this is a global change and not something which is specifically for a dedicated market. Started by the North American and the Chinese market a few years back. We're seeing this increasingly going and getting in high percentages. What's even more interesting that highly regulated markets and emerging markets are also showing this type of growth, such as Europe and India are introducing level 2+ capabilities into the markets. We're seeing that through working with different OEMs, and this is becoming basically a global trend towards going hands-off at scale. Now, what's driving this growth? This is a good question. And why OEMs are changing their directions, going from basic ADAS into higher levels of autonomy. And there are mainly 3 aspects that are driving this force forward. So first and foremost is the customer demand and the competitive pressure. consumers are looking at those systems as not as just supporting systems as advanced driver assistance systems, but mainly judging their capabilities by how it feels, more than if they just exist, yes or no. Basically, we're shifting from advanced driver assistance systems, ADAS, into advanced driver experience systems. Maybe this is a new term that we should discuss about ADAS. So this is one very important force. Second one is the shift towards centralized architecture and additional compute within the vehicle. So obviously, it allows to bring additional capabilities at scale and not just for a very niche segment, mainly the high levels of autonomy for premium, but rather make it across the board for more and more vehicle programs. And last one, obviously, the potential revenue that OEMs can gain from that. And this is, of course, whether you're selling it at the vehicle sale or via OTA and create a recurring revenue. This is a very interesting part for the OEMs to create additional revenue growth. So these are the main three drivers that we see OEMs pushing towards that direction. Now, the challenge of bringing those systems into the market is relying on three main pillars, right, that you need to create some kind of equilibrium in between them. One is to deliver the best performance possible that the consumer can enjoy it. This is one. An additional part, you need to do it in a timely manner. You don't want to get into very long projects which are very cumbersome and will bring you 4 or 5 years ahead. You need to do it in a fast time to market. Third one is you need to do it in a very cost-efficient way. You don't want to spend too much R&D resources on that, and in addition to that, you don't want the system to be very, very expensive, so you need to be cost-sensitive. And creating an equilibrium in between those three is a challenging part, as we experienced from discussing with different OEMs that are entering into different programs. And this is what we believe that Mobileye has the advantage of bringing the best of all worlds, here it is, into this segment specifically. Bringing the top of the market capabilities in a very fast time to market to address the market changes and the market needs, and in a very cost-sensitive manner. And for that reason, we have introduced roughly a year ago the Mobileye Surround ADAS. This is a solution that basically eliminates multiple ECUs in the vehicle. Right now, the architecture of the vehicle these days is very fragmented. You have a driving ECU, parking ECU, visualization, DMS, OMS, map ECU. The Mobileye Surround ADAS basically eliminates all of those ECUs and integrates it into one, also powered by possible by a single chip. I'll double click on that in a moment, and delivers top-of-the-line hands-free capabilities on highways, including ramp on and ramp off, and parking applications. We're doing that using 5 cameras, front, main, and 4 parking cameras, and 5 radars, in addition to a driving monitoring camera for in-cabin sensing, and all used by a single solution. Now, what I would like to do is to double-click on the components, the core components there are within the system that enables it to be very high in terms of capabilities, very fast time to market, and cost-efficient. Good. So the brain of the system is the EyeQ SoC. The EyeQ SoC is a purpose-built SoC, already the 6th generation that we are bringing into market. The EyeQ6 High specifically is a very interesting and unique one. It consists of 5 different distinct architectures within the same SoC. It is a purpose-built, as I mentioned, and it contains from CPU components through different accelerators up until XNN, which is a Mobileye proprietary accelerator, and allowing us to bring the legacy core competency of Mobileye, which is already incorporated in more than 230 million vehicles, and add to that the latest and greatest developments that we're doing in the AI and end-to-end capabilities and innovations that we're bringing into the market on those XNN. So our approach, just in one sentence, is not a complete end-to-end, but rather a compound AI approach that fuses in between multiple algorithms, and also end-to-end engines to be at the top of the performance and safe. Now, in addition to that, the IQ SoC also incorporates ISP and GPU components, allowing human visualization. So basically, this is the part that allows to bring visualization capabilities into the SoC. And what's important and interesting about it, because it's a purpose-built SoC, it is very, very lean, both in compute power and cost, roughly 34 TOPS. Which is far, far more efficient than the competitors of this SoC. Now, the next pillar of our component around surround data and more is REM. REM stands for Road Experience Management. This is a Mobileye solution for crowdsourced mapping and HD and AV mapping, basically. I'll explain a bit about REM and why it's a core component of ours. So basically, as mentioned, we have millions of vehicles out there in the world. We're using some of those vehicles in the millions to collect data. This is very sparse and lean data that we're uploading to the cloud. Where there the magic happens, we're creating an AV map in an automatic way, then being sent back to the vehicle for localization and additional application usage for level 2 plus, and up until level 4. And the idea here is that because we're using crowdsourced data, it is very, very fresh. It has very short time to reflect the reality, and it is still in the level of a centimeter level accuracy that requires for level 2 plus functions and above. Some numbers on that, we have more than 8 million active harvester, 8 million different vehicles that currently constantly delivering us data on a global scale. Just to show you the numbers, we've crossed the 34 billion miles harvested, which is showing an exponential growth from year to year due to the fact that we have more and more players coming into this ecosystem. Just a few months ago, we've announced that additional 3 global OEMs are getting into this pool of creating this data set for us, which is a critical point for enabling level 2 plus at scale, also for non-premium brands. This was the number, these were the numbers, yes. Okay. Now, the next one would be, the next pillar would be Mobileye parking and visualization solution. So for the past few years, we've been working on developing parking and visualization solutions, starting from the basic required by regulation elements through advanced parking applications as well. As you can see on the videos here, you can see a video that shows how we're doing a simultaneous move from hands-off driving into advanced parking application, and then go back to driving function hands-off. Our focus was how we can do that with as little sensors as possible, and this is what we're focusing on. And in addition to that, we've introduced our visualization capabilities. As I mentioned a moment ago, on the IQ6i, we have the capabilities of human visualization, and you can see that on the videos on the right. Now, important to mention that we have 3 different design wins with that. A German OEM, an Indian OEM, and a large North American OEM that are taking these solutions to the market starting 2027 and onwards. So we're investing a lot on this. It's an interesting technology that we're bringing together with driving, etc. Now, the next piece in the puzzle would be DMS. Now, we've started developing DMS, driving monitoring system, a few years ago, mainly looking to supervise the level 2++, urban cases, level 3, to supervise the driver, to make sure that he's attentive in the required scenarios, and making sure that he's being called back if needed. Now, what we've identified is that when we're taking the in-cabin sensing, where the driver is looking at, and fusing it together with the sensors outside of the vehicle, we can create a huge value to basically the function itself. So by correlating the gaze direction of where the driver is looking at and the detection of the objects outside of the vehicle, we can enhance the safety performance and also the comfort applications. So this is basically, we're calling this a context-based application or alerts, which brings much more than just driving monitoring system, which indicates if the driver is attentive, yes or no. Now, for the past year, we've been working with several OEMs on integrating this, and we've announced roughly 6 months ago that a large US-based OEM have nominated us to bring this solution into market starting 2027 on an IQ platform, and this is yet another core component and an important milestone within our direction. Now, here it is. Now, maybe the core part of it, and this is why I got to it just now, is the driving functions. So for more than a decade, we've been focusing not only on computer vision, as I mentioned, but also on driving capabilities for level 2+, level 3, level 4 autonomous mobility. We've had an interesting interplay in between the two. The developments that we're doing towards level 4 has helped us significantly in understanding what are the required assets that we need to invest in level 2+, and vice versa. And as you can see here, we've integrated those systems. We started integrating them back in 2022, together with a partner of ours based on the Supervision 52 solution. This was a hands-off, eyes-on solution together with the Zeekr as part of the Jeter Group. We've introduced that in 2022, sold hundreds of thousands of those systems that drives hands-off in China. And since then, we've been nominated with several global OEMs, also German OEMs, to deliver that across the globe. As you can see here in this video, this is an integration of a surround ADAS system into the vehicle, 5 cameras, 5 radars, allowing hands-off, including automatic lane change, on and off ramp. Delivers the cutting edge in a relatively non-premium vehicle as well. And just as a reflection on this trend, I want to echo 3 recently announced design wins that we had within this realm. So the first is Volkswagen, as you saw a moment ago. We're working with them on a 5-camera, 5-radar solution. We're Mobileye's the tier 2. However, we're delivering the driving functions. So all the driving functions that you saw a moment ago in the video are implemented there. We're in quite an advanced stage. Already the B-sample hardware, multiple testing, including winter tests, and expected to be on the road in Q2 2028. As you can see, it's in the millions of vehicles, so it's not a niche, it's not kind of a premium dedicated project. It's in the millions of vehicles. They're seeing this as a core component in their value proposition to their consumers. Additional one is a major US OEM that decided to take an EyeQ6 High, including its solution across the board for their software-defined vehicle platform. They're using our latest and greatest sensor fusion capabilities and also parking applications. And this is going to be standard fit on this platform in the millions as well, starting 2028 and well into the next decade. And last but not least, is an Indian OEM that decided not to take us only as a tier 2, but as a full tier 1, meaning we're in charge both on the software and on the hardware part as well, including the integration across 6 different vehicles, targeting those emerging markets in India and then exporting them outside to Europe and other regions as well, starting 2027 as well. So I believe that this is a strong evidence of the new era that I've mentioned a moment ago that we're going towards, where the experience is much more important than just if you have the ADAS solution, yes or no, and basically this is where we're heading.